Howdy folks, I'm Trusty Toad, terrifically toting toasted tortillas.
I'm Amber.
And here are more toasted tortillas for us to tote around like some kind of Santa Claus character, but with lovely, delicious tortillas instead. Let's get started. Who needs a beach vacation when you can have a bag of tortillas?
You could just have the tortillas on the beach.
Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting Hurt and Upset Over a Harmless Prank That My Husband Pulled? We are currently a 24-year-old female and a 33-year-old male. Way back before we met, when I was 16, my mom's house had a house fire that burnt literally everything down, and sadly my childhood cat was also killed in it. I remember my mom and brother waking me up screaming, "Fire, fire, get up, get up." We crawled out under some smoke, and luckily my neighbors had already called the fire department and they pulled us out. We lost literally everything. We were devastated. So that was a while ago, but it still really scares me. And I check outlets and stove and candles and everything all the time. My husband knows this about me. Well, 2 nights ago, I went to bed early because I'm currently 34 weeks pregnant, literally about to pop. I was sleeping for a little while before my husband, for some reason, decided to wake me up by yelling, "Baby, there's a fire! Fire, 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 get up!" As quick as I could, I was 34 weeks pregnant, I did, and I grabbed my purse. It was just an automatic shock, and just autopilot knew that I needed to grab what I needed to grab. I made it all the way downstairs, yelling for my husband to follow me, before he started laughing and telling me that it was a joke. It took a minute for me to process that. I stood there with my mouth open while he laughed and ushered me down the rest of the stairs. I sat down on the couch and I started sobbing. It was genuinely the hardest I've ever sobbed. It's like I couldn't even stop myself and my whole body was just shaking. My heart was racing and I couldn't breathe. I've never had this experience before. I was genuinely so panicked. I was upset. My husband apologized and was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, it was just a joke." I just cried until he eventually was like, "What in the world? It was just a prank. This is really dramatic." After a few hours, I calmed myself down and went to apologize to him. He wouldn't take it. He said that I was being overdramatic and I made him feel like garbage for a harmless prank. So I guess, am I the jerk? I've never been good at taking jokes. I've been trying to be less sensitive, but I don't know. Alright folks, what do you think? Is OP being overly sensitive here?
No, OP is definitely not the jerk or overly sensitive. What he did is cruel and dangerous. You know, I mean, he knows OP's trauma and he reignites that trauma for her and then has her run down the stairs while 34 weeks pregnant. Like, your center of gravity changes during pregnancy. She could have fallen down and hurt herself and the baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I'm really worried about here is the stunt that he pulled here could have ended up with her either getting hurt or killed, or the baby getting hurt or killed, or any number of things here, right? And I think that this was horribly irresponsible for him to do something like this. Like, you don't shout fire for a reason unless there's a fire, right?
And, like, to top it off, like, this wasn't even just randomly shouting fire. He knew this was a specific trauma of hers. He knew she had lost everything. Like, where is the humor in that? And making her think she was going to lose everything all over again.
There really isn't. I mean, I just think that it's horribly disrespectful to do this to somebody that you supposedly love. And I don't think there was a joke in here. I just think that it was pure cruelty is really what I feel.
Right. Like, I have some serious questions about the healthiness of this relationship. Like, OP going to apologize to him for having a trauma response.
Yeah.
Like, why do you feel like you need to apologize to him? And he may like, "You made me feel bad for a harmless prank." This wasn't harmless. He deserves to feel absolutely terrible.
And OP, I'm sure, felt terrible in the time when she was rushing and panicking and stuff like that. He deserves to feel as terrible, if not worse, for what he did
His
here.
Guilt should eat him alive.
So yeah, I don't think OP's in the wrong. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And now Shata 2022 says, a harmless prank. That entire time you were upset, crying, heart rate up, huge adrenaline rush, and then crash. Your baby was going through the same thing. Your unborn baby. Your husband must be losing his mind. What if you had stumbled on the stairs and fallen down? Serious question. Is your husband happy about this baby? Is he a narcissist? Any red flags in your relationship? I'm really sorry to say all of this because you've been growing a human for 34 weeks and wanted to make sure that you are 100% sure about your husband and his thoughts about the baby. I'm usually not a violent woman, but I want to slap him. Women worry about certain things when pregnant, and men worry about things like their job and stability and money, and afraid that they're not going to have intimate time again. All kinds of things. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here, but then I picture you jumping up and running downstairs, and my blood pressure starts going up. And OP replies, he's happy. He's the one who wanted a baby. I don't think that this is a narcissistic thing, though I'm not sure the definition of that, lol. And no, I don't think that there are red flags other than what's being pointed out in the comments that I'm reading. That's mostly that he tries to make me feel sensitive about our ages, but I always knew that, and I never really cared. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to be happy for my ex-fiance or accept his apology? First of all, yes, I am bitter, but I'm over it, but bitter. I'm a 25-year-old female, and I met my ex-fiance when I was 20 through one of my good friends. He is her brother. We dated from 20 to 23 and got engaged during that time. Prior to us meeting, he had a long-term relationship with another girl. I knew about it, but he assured me that they were done. Well, they weren't. The day that we sent the wedding invitations out, he called it all off. I was devastated and heartbroken, like I had never been before, and have never been since. I truly thought that the man was going to be my forever, and he just broke it off like nothing. 3 weeks later, he was back with the first girl. I don't think that there was anything physical overlapping, but emotionally for sure. They had been talking since we got engaged. Anyways, so that was 2 years ago, and I'm all put back together now, and have been for a while. I'm currently dating a phenomenal man who would never do anything like that to me. I am very happy, and while I had to take a few bumpy roads to get here, I am grateful that they took me to him. Anyhow, so recently, my friend, his sister, let me know that him and the other girl are getting married. I was like, oh cool, good for him. I guess I said it sarcastically because she gave me a weird face. I was like, girl, what do you want me to say? She was like, maybe just be happy for him? I just said, okay, I hope he's happy. Well, then that night I got a text from him. I don't even have his number saved, but I knew it was him because he was like, my sister told me that you weren't enthusiastic about us. I understand, but I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for everything that I put you through. I just left him on red, cause no, I refused to go there again. I told my boyfriend, and he was like, maybe engagements scare him off. My boyfriend told me that I'm not obligated to accept his apology, and my mom told me that I should have said something harsher to him. I didn't think anything about it for another week, until my friend brought it up again. She was like, honestly, it's been bothering me how you reacted. He's still my brother, and I was going to ask you to help me pick out the engagement gift for him. I was like, girl, you have to be kidding. In no way, shape, or form am I happy for him. In fact, I wish the relationship the absolute worst. I would rather die than pick out an engagement gift for my ex-fiance and his new fiance. She got so mad at me, she stormed out of the restaurant. Maybe I was a bit harsh, and maybe I should be over it and be the bigger person, but I just don't care enough to do that. I think that I'm allowed to wish him the worst, considering that he made me apologize to every extended part of my family for receiving an invitation for a wedding that was never going to happen. I was heartbroken and humiliated. Am I the jerk for not being happy for him? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. And this friend is not a friend. You know, someone who cannot respect your very reasonable boundary of not wanting to celebrate a person who has so deeply hurt you is not a good person to be friends with.
Yeah, I think that this person used extraordinarily bad judgment and is continuing to use extraordinarily bad judgment. OP doesn't have to be happy for their ex. He did a terrible thing to her, and certainly it does seem like there was some kind of cheating going on in the background, emotional-wise, but, not physically. But that doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is that he, did this to OP in one of the worst possible ways. And, even if he had done things very kindly and very nicely and broke things off very well, OP would still not be obligated to be happy for this individual or want anything to do with them, right?
Exactly. Like, the quote-unquote friend, like, she's allowed to maintain a relationship with her brother, but to try and force OP back into his life is just not cool and doesn't understand the deep betrayal. Like, she just wants to move on and have everyone play happy again, and it's like, that's not how this works.
Yeah, it really isn't. So I think that the sister or the friend here is just needs to have a reality check that that's not how the world works. Plain and simple. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Banja Dev says, not the jerk. How is this person a good friend? Is she deluded? And Fire or Water Kia says, I have the same question. I think this friendship has run its course. And Beth21286 says, you think this is a friendship? Doesn't seem like that woman even likes OP. And the Jack Al Reborn says, your friend is acting awfully. She shouldn't have told her brother your reaction. She is just creating drama. You didn't even react badly. Why on earth does she feel that you need to be involved with picking out gifts? That's obviously something that you wouldn't want to do, not the jerk. And Queen Red 01 says, the real question is, why would OP be happy for an ex who did her dirty? Like, girl, you're lucky that I even stay friends with you after what he did. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not wanting to hijack my brother-in-law's honeymoon alongside my wife? I'm a 28-year-old male and I've been married to my wife, a 27-year-old female, for 2 years now. Financially, we've both been struggling a bit in the past 2 years, but our situation is mostly fine now. Even though we still live a relatively modest life and we can't afford to casually go to expensive trips in other countries. Even our honeymoon was only a trip to a beach from our country where we've been already, and that even cost us quite a bit of money. My wife's older brother, a 33-year-old male, is definitely much wealthier than us and is known for spoiling his fiance, a 30-year-old female, with gifts and expensive trips. My wife definitely commented a couple of times on it, and I could feel that she was secretly jealous about it. She and her brother are definitely very close to each other, and they helped us out quite a bit during the times that we were struggling financially, and he even allowed her to be a bridesmaid at his wedding, even though my wife and my brother-in-law's fiance aren't really that close. Yesterday, my brother-in-law announced in front of the family that he wants to reward his sister for putting in so much effort into planning the wedding by full-on paying for both of us to go together with him and his fiancée on their honeymoon in Paris for a full week. Before I could say anything, my wife immediately accepted and hugged her brother. But then his fiancée started going at him about inviting us to their honeymoon without discussing it with her beforehand, and my brother-in-law defended himself by saying that he just wanted to help his sister experience something that she can't do on her own. They were arguing when my wife suddenly intervened and told his brother's fiancé to stop acting like such an entitled brat, cause not everyone is as lucky as her to have a wealthy enough partner to support them. Brother-in-law's fiancé started yelling at my wife about how she's just a leech to her brother, who took over her wedding and now wants her invited to the honeymoon too. I eventually got my wife out of there, and on the way out, I told her that maybe it would be better for us if we refused to go on the brother-in-law's honeymoon, as his fiancé is clearly uncomfortable with it. She asked me if I was an idiot for wanting to pass up a trip to Paris for free, that she worked way too hard to convince her brother to invite us for her to back out from it now. I told her that maybe she can arrange something else for us, and I don't want to be the reason that a marriage falls apart. But my wife told me that their marriage is not our business, but theirs, and if it does fall apart, it would be only my brother-in-law's fiance's fault. I told my wife that I want no part of this, and I won't be going on this shared honeymoon. And she started arguing about me, about how she can't believe that I act this way, when she only did this for us, and said that she'll take her brother's offer without me if she has to. We ended up sleeping in different beds, and even today my wife is still giving me the cold shoulder. So am I the jerk for my refusal? Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk, and stand your ground. Like, this is completely inappropriate. The way your wife is acting and the way her brother is acting. You know, a honeymoon is meant to celebrate a couple, and if you're going to change that, both the bride and groom need to be on board. You can't just invite random people and expect your spouse to be on board with that.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice if the brother had created a trip for them separately to maybe somewhere else and said, you know, this is going to be our, belated wedding gift to you, a trip, a full paid trip to wherever, right? But I think bringing them along on the honeymoon, that's going to create a lot of unnecessary drama. And I don't think that she's thinking about the dynamic here because, it's going to be awkward. Like, a honeymoon is supposed to be between the couple to spend time together alone.
Right. Well, and it seems like she doesn't care at all. She doesn't care if she ruins her brother's relationship. You know, she just sees his fiance as someone who's getting in the way of her getting her brother's money.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, think, if I were OP, think very hard about this relationship and what actually is he getting out of it other than being, berated for not making it enough money.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And lucky effective 1564 says, not the jerk. This is odd. Why is your wife taking over their wedding arrangements? Does she discuss them with brother-in-law and his fiance? The comment from the fiance implies not. And OP replies, I think she discusses the wedding planning with her brother's fiance because she's complained about her being difficult to work with. At the time, I thought that it was just the usual pre-wedding drama. A bride has her bridesmaids, and that it would be settled once the wedding was over, but that definitely won't be the case now after what happened last night. And Misaob says, not the jerk. Why not suggest that you two go at a different time? And OP replies, I already did, but my wife doesn't want to hear it. I mean, why is she obsessed with going on her brother's honeymoon?
I guess just to live the experience. It sounds like she wants the wedding to be the wedding she didn't get, the honeymoon to be the honeymoon she didn't get.
And Analyst19 says, not the jerk. You're right that the situation is wrong, and your wife is acting aggressive and strange to you and her future sister-in-law. A honeymoon is for the bride and groom. Sit everyone down, thank your brother-in-law, apologize to your brother-in-law's fiance if your wife refuses to do so, and suggest that you go on a 4-person trip sometime after the honeymoon. And OP replies, I already suggested it to my wife to convince her brother to arrange something else for us, but she said that she already has plans for the trip on their honeymoon, and she doesn't want to give up on them. Already has plans for their honeymoon. Wow. Just wow.
Maybe she should have married her brother instead.
That's what it sounds like. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
A woman went shopping on vacation and asked the store clerk, may I try on that dress in the window? Well, replied the clerk, don't you think it would be better to use the dressing room?
It would be better. It would be better. That's a very fine dad joke. Jovial Bob sign. And I have licorice spice. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, wonderful, wacky Wednesday, folks. I hope your Wednesday is off to a wonderful, wacky start. And Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on inappropriate requests.
Don't ask to go on your sibling's honeymoon.
I think that is a really inappropriate request. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!